Hello and welcome back to the Strategy Game Butt Kicker channel. This is back at the Conflict of Nations campaign that I just began in the last video, in which I am again playing as Germany and intending to focus on the use of armor in this game and not the use of planes as I normally do. So what has happened? It was only earlier today that I started this game, and within a few hours of beginning, I went back, I checked on my progress, and I discovered that I was being invaded by Poland. Now, this is not Mammoet Poland from the last time. This is a different Poland. This is a user named Not Italian. This is Not Italian Poland. And just to kind of take a look, Not Italian is relatively new, rank 6. And looking at the records, has joined 6 games, has won none so far, has gained more provinces than has lost, but not by that much. A lot of casualties. So this is not a particularly good player. This is definitely not an experienced player. This is nowhere near the threat that Mammoet could have posed in the previous game. Now, admittedly, in this game, I have already lost my capital city, Berlin. Now, the reason that happened, well, there are a couple of factors that play into that. One is that my capital in Germany is so close to the border. So anytime your capital is close to the border, if that nation decides to attack you, it can hit your capital with little to no warning. But there's also the fact, and it is entirely me, that I tend to use the troops that are, when the game begins, that are stationed in my capital. I tend to use those troops to gain more territory. And that does come with a risk. There is the possibility that when you were using the troops in your capital to take other territory rather than defend your capital, if you are attacked, you may lose your capital. Now, that's one reason why it can actually be very useful when you attack other countries to aim for the capital, because a lot of countries, when they find that the capital is taken, or a lot of players, when they find that their capital is taken, they quit. And now you're fighting a city that doesn't have anybody operating it. So it gets a lot easier that way. Not everybody does, but especially this early in the game, if you've just started playing, it's your first day, and you've lost your capital, a lot of players will just quit. This, in reality, for me in this game, this is no more than an inconvenience and an annoyance that I've lost my capital. It will slow me down a little bit. And, I'll have to build back up morale and stuff and have to build another capital. So it is an inconvenience. But as long as nobody else attacks, early in the game, if you start fighting 2, 3, 4, or 5 neighbors at the same time, yeah, it can be more than you can do unless you're spending gold, which I'm not doing. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I have done since I discovered that I was being attacked. So one thing, obviously, is that I've moved my troops in this direction. Presumably, he has moved his troops in this direction, too. Actually, before I talk about what I'm going to do, I want to talk more about what he did. All right, so he has not, and this is a noob mistake. A lot of players do it. You should not. Is that they do not concentrate their forces before they invade. Now, if I had not taken my troops out of Berlin, he would have lost that attack. Because there is an advantage to being in a city or even in the middle of a province, and he would have lost that attack. My troops would have defended Berlin, and he would have lost. So one thing, before you invade anybody, you want to put your troops together and invade with the greatest force you can at the time. He did not do that. That was a noob mistake. He is sending his troops in the little groups that they initially start in. So he's sending in 2, 3 troops at a time, which makes it much easier to deal with and kill those troops. So when you're fighting, you don't want to do that. You want to consolidate your power before you punch with it. Now, He brought the troops from this city here, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, and went straight to Berlin, managed to capture that. Now he has handfuls of troops coming through here, and presumably either he's stocking them up in Berlin to try to make sure he holds on to Berlin, or he's going to bring them through. I know he's had some come over here. He's going to try to bring them through and invade other cities. And I'm not sure yet which of these he's planning on doing, but whatever the case, he's not going to succeed. We're going to wind up pushing him back, and we're going to wind up taking his cities too. Now, what I did, I saw that this invasion was happening when he was in, he was in Prinziau. He was actually getting very close to Berlin already when I discovered it, which is not surprising because Berlin is very close to the border. So the first thing I did was I moved my artillery out of the city. This is also an incredibly common mistake. When people have artillery, particularly towed artillery, which has a pretty good punch to it, but has no HP. Each one has 10 HP to start out. It is no good for keeping inside a city and trying to defend and keep people out. Now, I left it in the city here to start with because it will shoot at somebody who's coming. But when I saw that somebody was coming, after it had shot at that person, I then very quickly got it out, brought it around back behind the city, and I've blocked off some access to that so that it can't easily just be grabbed and killed by the invaders. Then I have it here where right now it's shooting at this infantry battalion. I'm not sure what he still has left in the city, but it's shooting at this infantry battalion just to reduce its punch when it meets up with our infantry right here. And I'm going to go back to shooting into Berlin. And as long as he leaves his troops in Berlin, I'm going to be firing my artillery into the city and slowly wearing away at them. Now, yes, it will also wear away at the population. It's not great for Berlin to have the artillery firing into it, but it is also not great for his troops to consistently have artillery firing at them. So that's what I'm going to do. That's why I moved it out, so that I could use that to soften up the invading force that had come into Berlin, so that I could eventually take that city back. And I will be doing that in the near future. All right, so I have blocked off his access this way, and so he has a much harder time now making it into my country. And I'm hitting him in Berlin, and probably the next time you get an update, I will be telling you. As long as nobody else... Thank you, motorcycle. As long as nobody else comes and invades, as long as this is just a war between Deutschland and Poland, I don't really see that there's going to be that much of a challenge, and I think we're going to have a pretty easy time of it. So I will tell you next time how we are in regaining Berlin and in moving on into Poland. So thanks for joining, and keep on the watch for other videos and other videos on other games. And please, if you like this content, if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe and like and comment and share. Send it to other people, because, small channel just starting out, you don't get a lot of impressions. YouTube doesn't show the video to many people. So if you think there's somebody who might be interested in learning more about this game or other strategy games, please feel free to share that with them. Oh, let's see. We have three infantry that are coming in this way. So that's interesting too. All right. So anyway, they are probably the ones, I think they're the ones who came through here, which is interesting. All right, so keep on the watch out, and I will follow up in the near future. Thanks.